All right, what's up, YouTube? We are here with.
Clay Grider.
What'd you do this past weekend?
Well, we made day 2, and not only that, got top 64 at the YCS in Indianapolis. I know I'm kind of a mainstay on the channel with this deck, but it is what it is.
What'd you play though?
You already know, pure Kashtira.
Deck is insane.
Yep. My favorite deck of the format, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Shout outs first, I guess. We'll knock those out now.
Yep. Shouts to everyone up here at Tag Team up in Kokomo, Indiana. We put a lot of work in up here, testing, getting some games in. Shout out to everyone else that plays cash around this area. That'd be me, Danny, Sean behind, Garrett, Matt, and there's one more. I'm forgetting.
Brad.
And then also shout out to Craig Smith, who was able to get top 32 with the deck at YCS Indianapolis.
The only one.
Yeah, the only one. I run into him all the time at the regionals and the big events around in the Midwest. He always hangs out with me, so appreciate it. Other than that, let's hop right in.
Yep, let's get into it.
I mean, it's pretty typical. I mean, it's 3 unicorn. This card, I feel like it never resolves. It gets hit with Imperm and Valor and Ghost Mourner so often, but as long as you draw another piece of the engine, you're fine.
Actually, before I forget,
Yeah.
you said how did you start the tournament?
I started the tournament 1 and 2, lost round 1 and 3, and then we finished the tournament 7-0 and 1. Finished with exactly 25 points, and I was the last person with 25 points and finished 63rd overall.
Missed top. If it would have been a top 64 YCS, you would have
made it by 1 spot essentially. But hey, hopefully we can get some changes. I'd love to see it go to top 64 once you hit the
Nationals is probably
threshold.
gonna be top 64, but yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. All right, and then anyway, 3 Fenrir. It's Fenrir. It's crazy. 3 Rise Heart. I think you have to play 3 for the consistency of the deck.
Yeah, I see a lot of people play 2.
You can maybe argue siding 2, but especially game 1, like I just want to see the names. This card is actually insane for the banish effect. Being able to get a birth set up and then use a Theosis to bring the birth back to hand, or set up a summon off of a birth that you already have. I think it's insane.
Oh yeah, it's definitely insane.
The 1 card out to a lot of problems in the deck that most people underestimate, Scareclaw Cash.
Tenpai Killer just...
The Tenpai Killer had some dude make a Chaos Angel, and he thought he was safe, and I just OTK'd him with this card and a Fenrir, plus 1 other body. And then I did play the Ogre and Prep package. It was okay. That's about the best I can give it. I think it was okay. A lot of times I would open an Ogre plus Theosis, which felt really good, because then I'd either go into a Unicorn or a Fenrir off of it. Preparations resolved twice for the hand rip over the whole tournament. One dude didn't read this card and impermed my Shangri-Ira after I flipped this in draw phase. I said, cool, rip your only starter, and congrats, the game's over. And then another time, it was against some trap-based deck. They activated 1 in graveyard. It left them with 1 card in hand. I just ripped it face down as well. But they pretty much had to do it to stand a chance. So, and they knew what it did. So, in that case, like, it was all right. The main thing it came up with was preventing a lot of lethal pushes where I have a cash in banish and I bring it out. They think they have lethal and they just missed it by exactly like 1 attack. I personally think I'm gonna keep it in going forward, but if you want to cut that package, I'm not gonna argue against it. You can play like
it's mediocre.
You can play more like power hand traps or spells. So like I get it.
Yeah.
Speaking of hand traps, the reason you play a deck 3 shifter.
Oh yeah.
No other words needed. 3 Ash, just to generic hand trap. 3 Ghost Mourner. It's pretty good. It works with Shifter. That's the only reason I'm playing it. And I'm playing also 1 Valor, only because I wanted more negation into the Snake Eye matchup. And
so you're not fearing that this conflicts with Shifter?
Not really, honestly. If you open both, what you do is you just fire Shifter like is chain 2 on their effect, and then fire this chain 3. You play more into talent that way, but I think it's worth it just to potentially, especially if you like see both of these in your hand, with this not being a once per turn, but this being a hard once per turn. And then also 3 Improve as well, because it's probably the best negation card in this format.
Yep. So why no Ghost Bell in the main deck?
No Ghost Bell?
In the main deck.
I don't think Ghost Bell is needed in the main in this format. If anything, you could argue Ghost Ogre instead, and we'll get to that when I get to the side deck. Ghost Bell's only in the side just because of Labyrinth for me, but I felt like Ghost Ogre maybe would have done a more practical effect across all the decks across the board. And then into the spells, 4 planet. It's a 1-card starter. We do it. 3 Theosis. You could, yet again, with the Rise Heart argument, cut this to 2, but I feel like game 1, you just need to see it for consistency purposes.
Do you find yourself citing one out sometimes for games 2 and 3?
If I need like very generic board breakers, I might do it, but for the most part, actually, a lot of times I'm citing out this Terraform.
Oh yeah, every time I play that, I always cite that card out.
Yeah. That's the card I feel like that comes out the most when I'm citing. And then 3 Birth. This is like a top 3 card in the deck. As long as it's at 3, I'm playing it at 3 and never citing a copy.
Oh God, yes.
And then a couple more cards.
We're never playing lower than 3 unless it gets hit.
Consistency, Pod of Prosperity. I actually do sometimes find myself citing this out, going second, mainly just for some power spells like Harpy's Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, stuff like that. It does hurt like the search consistency of the deck a little bit, but I might only cut like 1 out in that case. And then since we're in a hand trap format, I did main 2 talent. I play 2 only because every time I play it at 3, I feel like I see 2 in my hand, and it's a hard once per turn. But other than that, this card was amazing all day. Maybe like the most impactful card of the day. So many times being able to either take or look at their whole hand and know hand knowledge going forward completely like changed the game in my favor. And that's it for the main.
How many cards in the main?
Exactly 40. Exactly 40. Okay. Just trying to keep it consistent. For the extra, start with XEs, 1 Shangri-Ira, pretty standard. A lot of end boards end on this, and then just summon out a Fenrir or a Unicorn based on what you need. The utility ones, we go 1 Big Eye, 1 Dark Armed, 1 Flare Metal, 1 Draco Sack, and then maybe the, I'd say, most impactful card in the extra deck this weekend was Gradiel. Gradiel to prevent Tenpai and also Snake Eyes just stealing their stuff out of the graveyard felt insanely good.
Hey, are you doing? Oh my God.
And then Big Eyed, generic rank 7 is pretty good. Dark Armed, multiple pop, really good. Red Eye's Flare Metal didn't really come up for the burn effect over the weekend. But what did happen is I did face a Ragnaraka Trap Tricks player, which has to destroy a card on their big Link monster, and being able to make this, which is can't be destroyed by a card effect, and then swinging and making a Zeus, that won me the final round of the day. And then Draco Sack, it's a good out to skill drain, but I'm also playing the Link package, which is what we'll get into next. And then 2 more generic XCs, Zeus and Typhon.
Broken. There's
you're playing an XC stack, play this card. The Typhon is kind of a last resort option, but it has come up and it has won me games. Conflicts with the field spell a little bit, so be careful of that. But other than that, I think the XCs, I don't think I'd make any changes to it as long as I'm playing this package. So for the Link package, 2 Link Spider, 1 Crystal Heart, 1 Heat Soul, 1 Apo, 1 Access Code. I'm gonna be honest, most of the time what I was doing was I was making the Heat Soul to draw a card, and then immediately after I drew a card, I would just link it in the Draco Sack off for 2 Matt Appaloosa. Then if this survived, I feel like I won the game every single time. I didn't make Access Code once, but I felt like with playing Talent, it might come up, so I just kept it in there just in case. Like if I Talent, take their IP Masquerade or something like that. It was all right package. I could see the argument for playing like maybe a rank 4 package like Abyss Dweller and Baguska though. And if you do, definitely, I feel like that'd be understandable. And the last card, SP Knight, basic. Didn't really make it that much, but it's all right. It's generic.
Oh yeah.
And then the side deck, we've got 3 Lava Golem. This card went insane all day. I don't fear a single inboard when I see this card in my hand. And then...
Unless it's Calamity locking you.
Yes, unless it's Calamity locking me, but thankfully we dodged that all day. 2 Ghost Bell, because I said I fear Labyrinth, because it is a terrible matchup for this deck. Realistically, you could maybe take these out and play Droll or Ghost Ogre. To me, I just feared the Labyrinth matchup so much, I kept them in. I didn't face it, thankfully, but it didn't really impact any of my games too much. Then these cards, which did impact every time I saw them. Duster 2 Lightning Storm, Change of Heart. I don't know, most people weren't playing Change of Heart, but being able to take like a 3-mat Appaloosa after you summon a Unicorn is absolutely insane. And then just generic, we hate back row decks. Then the going first cards, 3D barrier. I feel like this card just beats everything that's not Snake Eye exactly. And then the other, which went in every single time we go first, is Solemn Judgment. And between hitting like a power spell, like a Harpy's Feather Duster, or maybe an evenly match, to when they maybe link off into like I've hit a Hida before, I've hit a Dark the Dark Charmer, hit a Promethean Princess. Like this card overperformed like crazy. I know you're paying half your life, but in a deck that really doesn't have any other negation tools, this card is so important.
Yeah, we don't got Baron now,
Yeah.
so we gotta do something.
Yeah, to protect yourself. I feel like it's so important nowadays. Other than that, that's about it.
Final remarks or last minute shoutouts?
I'm really happy how the YCS like turned out. You know, being an Indiana relative.
2 YCSs in a year.
Yeah, 2 YCSs in a year, and we're getting over 1,800 people for both of them. Love the turnout that people show up from. All my opponents were super nice throughout the whole day.
All of them?
Yep. And then, other than that, I think that's about it. I mean, like I said, this is my favorite deck. I'll be playing it probably at Nats when we end up going in July. So,
Yep.
other than that, I think that's it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yep, appreciate it.